Today's a good day because I am finally installing drawers in our DIY kitchen. And if you've ever been afraid of installing cabinet drawers, don't worry, I'm going to show you how I do it and hopefully make it a lot less scary so you can start installing drawers in all of your woodworking projects too. Whenever I'm installing cabinet drawers, I always turn to the Kreg drawer slide jig. And right now you can get it on sale. If you buy the hardware kit, it comes with not only this jig, but two of my other favorite hardware installation jigs. And you get to save 10% off now through December 31st if you get them in the kit. I also use the Kreg multi-mark tool. It's one of my go-to tools. I really need to buy a couple more because I'm always losing it. You'll also need some clamps to hold the jigs in place. You'll also need a drill with a drill bit for pilot holes, as well as an impact driver. Of course, you can do without an impact driver, but with installing your drawer slides, you will be switching bits a lot. So I highly recommend having them both. Then you'll also need to grab your drawer slides and let's get ready to install. And the last tool that I have to mention is my secret weapon. Yes, this is just a piece of cardstock. It's actually called cover stock, so it's really thick cardstock, and I use this to help shim out my cabinet drawer slides to make sure that I get a really good fit. Now, before we start talking about installing the drawer slides, I want to point out my cabinet boxes first. So I did these cabinets as a face frame, so they have a 1x overlay over the front. However, my cabinet face frame is a little bit different because I did it so that the inside of the cabinet is actually flush with the face frame. So I don't have anything over the top here. That's going to make it really easy to install my drawer slides because I don't have to worry about using those little plastic pieces to hold the cabinet drawer slide flush with the face frame, or I don't have to install any blocking to therefore make my drawer slide flush with my face frame. So that is a really bonus for me, and I did that because I'm going to be doing inset cabinet drawers and I wanted the smallest face frame possible for those cabinet drawers and cupboards to be as big as they could be. So let's get started on installing. I always start installing my cabinet drawers with the bottom when I have a bank like this. And for this, we don't need to use our Kreg drawer slides because we're going to use basically the base of our cabinet as our guide. And in order to do that, you will want a scrap piece of wood. I built all of my drawer boxes out of 1/2-inch Baltic birch, so this is just an offcut left over. And I will set those in the bottom of the cabinet. I am moving it back a little bit because I have a screw here that I use to install the cabinet into my 2x4 base. Then we're going to take apart the drawer slides. And there's a little notch here. If you pinch it and give it a pull, oh, come on. Now it's not going to work. There we go. Then we are ready to go. Set the one piece aside that we're going to install on our drawer box later, and you're setting your drawer slide right on top of your blocking. I use my Kreg measuring tool to make sure that I'm set back from the front 3/4 inch because that is how thick my inset drawer cabinet is, or drawer front is going to be. If you are doing overlay drawers, you're going to have it flush with the front of your face frame. We'll set mine back, and now it's time to install. Slide the drawer slide until you get access to the holes that you want. And actually, before I do that, I'm going to point something out. These drawer slides have little tabs on them, and I like to put my screws into those tabs. That gives you a little bit of flex, and if we have to shim that out, it's still going to really be a good strong hold, but it's going to allow that to flex a little bit and make it a lot easier to tweak a drawer slide to make it fit. So we're going to start with a pilot hole on the very front. This is the very first little tab, and I want it to go right in the center of that. Then I'm going to attach it with the screws that are included in my drawer slides. And repeat for all of the, well, I'm going to do 3 of the tabs all the way back. now I've got that one secured. It's time to move on to the other side. Now it's time to move on to the upper two cabinet drawer slides. And for this, we're going to be using the Kreg drawer slide jig. And these are really make it super easy to install your drawer slides. Now, if you have a face frame that has an overlay, unlike mine, you're going to do this a little bit backwards. You're going to put this behind your face frame here, and you pull out the little tab on the top, and that sits right on top of your face frame. But because I don't have that, I'm going to use mine as a mix of a drawer slide, a face frame and a frameless cabinet. So I'm still going to use this tab. I'm going to set it on top, but I'm going to put it so that it is flush with this side. And now I need my clamp. Oh, there it is. And you just clamp this right to your face frame. And you can clamp both of them and move ahead, but I always find that it's way easier to just work with one at a time because I always bump the other one with my arms as I'm trying to get inside of my cabinet box to install them. But once that is clamped, it's going to basically give you the perfect ledge, like we did down here with our 1/2-inch plywood, to rest your drawer slides on. One thing I have noticed, because I don't have a face frame for the bottom of my face frame jig to press up against, occasionally the weight of my slide will cause it to move out on the bottom, and that makes my ledge not perfectly level. So just keep an eye on that. Make sure that the bottom of your drawer slide jig stays nice and flush with the edge of your face frame. Because this is my awkward side, I like to just get the front and the back one in. Then I can remove the jig to make more room for me to get into the cabinet to finish screwing it in. Next step is to install the other side of your slide onto your cabinet drawers. And typically with the drawer slide jig, you will clamp it onto the front of your face frame, and then you can use this as a ledge to rest your drawer box on. But I'm doing large drawer boxes for these big base cabinets, and they're just too heavy to do it this way, so I'm going to show you how I like to do it. So I'm going to install the other part of the drawer slide to my drawer box outside of the cabinet. And I did a few measurements, looked at the instructions, and for this drawer slide, I need to put it up 3/8 of an inch from the bottom, and that is going to give me 1/4 of an inch of a gap below the bottom of my box and the top of my face frame. And then it's just as easy as using my little Kreg multi-measure tool, making sure the front is flush with the front of my drawer box, and get it lined up, check it a few times. Then I'm going to make marks of which holes I want to drill into for my pilot holes. And you have holes that can go front and back or top to bottom. That way you're drilling one hole and you can adjust it. So I like to use those for my front two, and for the back one, I use the one that's more specific. Okay, now we're going to flip it over and install the other drawer slide on the other side. Make sure that the front is still the front of the box, and I like to use my 1/2-inch scraps that I used to brace up the bottom drawer slides to also hold this so that I'm not having to wobble on the drawer slide. And now it's time to test it in the cabinet. I'm going to line up the drawer slides. And it's going going to be a little tight as you get it pushed in the first time. Then you can see how it slides, and that actually is pretty good. Now, if your drawer slides are not connecting very well, that's where you can use the paper. And I take my paper and I cut some strips, probably about 1.5 inches by about 5 inches. And then I can fold it in half to shim it out this thick. I can fold it in thirds if I need to shim it out a little bit more. You can even fold it in quarters, depending on how much you need to shim it out. And then you loosen your screws and tuck that back in there and tie in your screws and check again. But I'm actually pretty happy. All my measurements were really good when I built my drawer box and my cabinet, that things appear to be sliding really well. So I'm gonna install the last couple drawers. Once you've got all of your drawers installed and they're moving nicely, pull them out one more time and add a few more screws to really secure those drawer slides. And then you're ready for your drawer fronts. And with the Kreg hardware installation kit promotion, not only are you getting your drawer slides, but you're also going to get the cabinet hardware jig, which will get perfectly aligned cabinet pulls on all of your cabinet drawer fronts. So make sure to grab that before the promotion's over.